My greedy fiancée and her mother forced me to sign a prenup to steal 70% of my money. They didn't know I inherited a $3,500,000 land asset the next day. When she filed for divorce, my lawyer triggered the contract clause that ruined them both. Enjoy the karma. My name is Oliver, and for the past 4 years, I have worked as a remote geological field engineer for an energy corporation. My job involves spending weeks in mud, wearing heavy steel-toed boots, and living in basic corporate trailers. Because of this, people who look only at the surface always assume I am completely broke. I met Chloe at a local coffee shop 2 years ago. She was beautiful, stylish, and worked as a social media marketing assistant. She loved expensive restaurants and high-end lifestyle aesthetics, which I gladly paid for because I loved her, and my salary was actually well into the six-figure range. I just never bragged about it. The real problem started when I proposed, and her mother, Victoria, became heavily involved in our wedding planning. Victoria was a bitter, divorced woman who lived way beyond her means, constantly chasing high society status while drowning in hidden credit card debt. She instantly viewed me as her daughter's financial ticket. During our rehearsal dinner, just 12 hours before the wedding ceremony, Victoria quietly called me into a private back room of the restaurant. Chloe was sitting there, looking cold and distant. Victoria slammed a thick, stapled legal document onto the table. "Sign this, Oliver, or the wedding tomorrow is completely canceled," she said. It was a prenuptial agreement. Victoria's shady billboard lawyer had drafted it. I skimmed through the aggressive text. The core clause stated that in the event of a marital split, Chloe would automatically receive 70% of my liquid bank accounts, 70% of my future corporate income, and full ownership of any residential property we purchased during the marriage. Victoria sneered. "We know you field engineers don't make much, but my daughter deserves absolute security. Sign it or walk away right now." I looked at Chloe. She avoided my eyes, staring at her expensive manicure. They thought they were backing me into a corner, forcing a desperate man to sign away his future. What they didn't know was that my family's old tax contract lawyer had thoroughly educated me on inheritance logistics. In our state, any premarital asset or inheritance is protected. But if a prenup explicitly states that all premarital structures remain completely separate, it double locks that asset. By forcing their contract on me, they were insulating my hidden wealth. I calmly picked up the pen and signed my name on the dotted line. Victoria smirked, snatched the document, and tucked it into her designer purse like a golden trophy. The next day, the wedding went smoothly. They thought they had secured a compliant wallet they could slowly drain over time. Exactly 48 hours after our wedding ceremony, my family's corporate legal executor officially called me into his downtown office. My grandfather's massive West Texas estate had finally cleared probate court. I was the sole heir to 1,200 acres of raw land that had just been surveyed by an energy consortium. The official appraisal documents were staggering. Due to massive lithium deposits and verified oil shale reserves discovered beneath the surface, the land asset was valued at exactly $3,500,000. The corporate energy group was already offering a massive monthly lease royalty just to begin drilling infrastructure. I signed the corporate transfer papers, keeping the entire asset completely quiet. I didn't buy a luxury sports car, I didn't change my basic wardrobe, and I continued working my remote engineering shifts in the mud. The massive monthly royalty checks began clearing into a private, offshore corporate trust account. Meanwhile, Chloe and her mother Victoria began executing their plan. Now that Chloe was married to a six-figure engineer, she quit her marketing assistant job within 3 months, claiming she needed to focus on becoming a full-time luxury travel influencer. She spent her days draining our joint checking account for expensive clothes. Victoria also moved into a luxury high-rise apartment downtown that she absolutely could not afford, explicitly telling the leasing office that her wealthy son-in-law would guarantee the monthly payments if her corporate consulting business faced a slow quarter. They were spending money like they had already won the lottery. Every time I tried to discuss a budget or financial responsibility with Chloe, she would completely lose her temper, flashing her teeth. "Don't start acting like a cheap loser, Oliver. You make great money in the oil fields. My mom needs help, and I deserve to live a premium lifestyle. If you don't like it, We can always split." She was dropping subtle hints about the prenup, trying to remind me that she held the ultimate leverage. She truly believed that if she filed for divorce, her mother's contract would guarantee her 70% of everything I possessed. She had no idea she was burning through my basic field salary while my millions remained completely out of her reach. The tipping point came on our first anniversary. I returned home early from a grueling 3-week shift in the Texas mud, exhausted and looking forward to a quiet evening. Instead, I walked into our rented suburban house and found Victoria's shady billboard lawyer sitting at my dining room table, drinking my premium whiskey. Chloe and Victoria were standing next to him, holding legal folders. Victoria looked at me with a cold, triumphant sneer. "Well, Oliver, the game is officially over," she said. "Chloe has realized that living with a low-level field laborer who smells like oil isn't the life she wants. We are officially executing the marital split." Chloe stepped forward, tossing a copy of their signed prenuptial agreement onto my lap. "My lawyer tracked your banking logs, Oliver. We know you've been hiding your true corporate stock distribution bonuses. Under the contract clause my mom made you sign, I am taking 70% of your liquid wealth. Have fun living back in your corporate trailer." I looked down at the paper, then looked at the shady lawyer, who was smiling arrogantly. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, and I didn't show a single shred of emotional panic. I simply stood up, pulled my phone from my pocket, and dialed my family's veteran estate attorney. "Charles," I said into the speaker, "trigger the counter audit clause. They just served the papers." Victoria laughed out loud, a harsh, mocking sound. "Call whoever you want, nerd. That contract is ironclad. You signed it yourself in front of a licensed notary. You are completely ruined." I looked at Chloe, my voice dropping to a calm, deadly whisper. "You should have read the state property subsections before letting your mother control your marriage, Chloe." I walked up to my guest bedroom, packed my single engineering duffel bag, and walked out of the house without looking back. I spent the night at a luxury hotel downtown, drinking premium scotch, fully knowing that the corporate litigation machine my family retained was about to completely, systematically dismantle their entire lives. 3 weeks later, the formal divorce asset verification hearing was scheduled at the county family court. Chloe and Victoria arrived dressed in expensive designer outfits, looking like they were attending a high society fashion show, completely confident that they were about to walk out with millions of dollars of my wealth. They sat at the petitioner's table with their billboard lawyer, who immediately addressed the family court judge. "Your Honor, the prenuptial framework clearly dictates a 70-30 split of all capital and income resources belonging to the husband, Oliver Miller. We demand immediate asset freezing orders to secure my client's lawful share." The judge looked over the contract layout, then looked at my veteran corporate attorney, Charles, who was calmly sitting next to me. Charles stood up, adjusted his premium silk tie, and pushed a thick, blue-stamped binder across the desk to the judge. "Your Honor, we completely agree with opposing counsel. The prenuptial contract is indeed 100% valid, and we are here to enforce its exact terms." Victoria and Chloe shared a quick, triumphant look, smiles spreading across their faces. Their shady lawyer smirked, leaning back in his chair. They thought my legal team had completely surrendered without a fight. They didn't realize they had just walked directly onto a hidden legal landmine that my attorney was about to detonate. Charles addressed the courtroom, his voice resonant and perfectly commanding. "Your Honor, if you look at Section 4, Subclause B of the prenuptial agreement that Victoria Miller drafted, it explicitly states, any and all premarital estates, separate legacy trust structures, and subsequent passive family inheritances are completely insulated from marital pooling." Charles continued, "Opposing counsel spent 3 pages ensuring that my client Oliver could never touch any future property Brenda or Victoria might pass down. However, 48 hours after the wedding, my client officially inherited a 1,200-acre oil and lithium land asset in West Texas, valued at $3.5 million. Charles pushed a second set of documents to Chloe's lawyer. "Because of the aggressive, exclusive wording in your own contract, Chloe Miller has zero legal claim to this $3.5 million inheritance. It remains 100% separate property under the exact prenup terms you forced my client to sign. The 70% split applies only to his active liquid bank accounts." The shady billboard lawyer's eyes dilated in absolute terror as his eyes scanned the certified lithium appraisal certificates and land deeds. He frantically began flipping through his own contract pages, his hands shaking violently. Chloe looked at him, panic suddenly cracking her makeup. "What is it? What does that mean?" she demanded. Her lawyer whispered in a panicked, cracking tone, "Chloe, the land asset is completely insulated. We can't touch the $3.5 million. Their contract layout double-locked it because we insisted on strict asset separation." Victoria gasped loudly from the gallery, clutching her chest, her face turning an ash-gray color. But my attorney Charles wasn't finished. He pulled out a third stack of certified financial records. These were the bank logs of our joint account and Chloe's personal credit cards. "Now, Your Honor," Charles said, "let us address the rules of the contract. All personal debts and massive credit card balances created during the marriage must belong only to the person who spent that money." Charles explained to the judge, during the 12 months of this marriage, Chloe Miller maxed out 3 high-end bank credit cards, totaling $84,000, entirely on luxury lifestyle items and fake social media profiles. She spent all this money alone while lying to my client about our actual financial status. Charles continued his heavy attack. Furthermore, she signed as a financial partner for her mother, Victoria's high-rise penthouse lease. That luxury apartment is currently in serious trouble with $26,000 of unpaid rent. The property management company is already moving to sue them both in court right now. Chloe's face turned completely pale when she heard the exact bank numbers echo through the courtroom. She turned around to look at her mother, but Victoria could only look down at the wooden floor in total shame. My attorney Charles held the certified record logs high for the judge to inspect the official bank seals. The judge shook his head with disgust and looked directly at Chloe's legal team. The text of this prenuptial agreement is completely clear. Section New Clause C states that all personal debts belong only to the person who spent the cash. Mr. Miller has zero duty to cover these credit cards or the mother's luxury penthouse rent. Chloe's attorney instantly realized they had lost the entire legal battle. He leaned over and whispered something into his client's ear while she sobbed into her hands. A moment later, the lawyer stood up and told the court that Chloe wished to drop all financial requests and sign the final divorce papers immediately. They signed the final legal decree right there on the heavy courtroom table. Chloe was crying loudly now, her fake elite life completely turning into dust. She entered this courtroom planning to steal my commercial assets and ruin my business, but she walked out holding a massive mountain of personal debt. But the real financial nightmare hit her arrogant mother, Victoria, just a few weeks later. Because Chloe lost all her liquid net worth and her credit profile was destroyed, the property management company forcefully evicted Victoria from her luxury penthouse, sending all her designer items to a public debt auction. Victoria's personal credit score dropped to absolute zero, meaning no premium rental agency in the city would look at her applications. She was forced to move her remaining storage items into a tiny, dark basement apartment located in a terrible area of the town, right next to a loud commercial highway line. Chloe also had to forget about her beautiful dreams of becoming a rich internet influencer. Premium bank collection agencies started calling her personal phone every single hour, threatening to secure a judicial order to take her money directly from any local job she could find to survive. She was forced to accept a high-stress, low-paying position at a local commercial call center. Chloe now spends 9 hours every single day listening to angry customers shout at her over a headset. The bank automatically takes most of her monthly salary straight from the payroll system to clear her credit balance. Her mother's greedy prenuptial trap completely turned into their own personal financial prison. As for me, my commercial construction business instantly exploded with massive success. Free from their constant mind games and toxic family drama, I focused 100% of my energy on expanding my corporate operations. Within 3 months, my construction firm secured 3 massive state infrastructure contracts to build new public highway bridges. The steady, passive money flooding into my corporate bank account every single week was absolutely incredible. I was finally completely free and financially secure. I officially purchased a beautiful, modern, luxury house located near the quiet mountain valleys. It is an amazing private property protected by high-tech security systems and strong legal boundaries. I am now living a peaceful life without any hidden debts or dramatic people around my inner circle. I want to give some serious advice to any hardworking specialist or business owner reading this story. If a greedy partner or a toxic family tries to push you into a corner using asset tricks, never back down. Let them write their strict rules and feel proud of themselves. Let them sign their own complicated legal documents. In the end, their own deep greed will build the exact corporate cage that will trap them forever. True justice always wins in the modern world. If you stay perfectly smart, document every single interaction, and protect your constitutional rights. Now, I spend my beautiful open weekends driving around the scenic mountain roads in my new sports vehicle, completely enjoying my time. I no longer have to check my personal smartphone for angry, manipulative text messages from Chloe or toxic updates from her arrogant mother. The total quietness of my new life is honestly the best possible reward after dealing with all that unnecessary emotional noise. My close friends often come over to my modern property for backyard family dinners. They all tell me how incredibly lucky I am to successfully escape that terrible family. But I always remind them that it wasn't just basic luck that saved my life. It was entirely about studying the strict text of the contract, keeping my emotions completely flat, and holding my ground under intense social pressure. If you don't show weakness, petty tyrants always make a fatal mistake. Chloe recently tried to send several desperate emails to my official corporate account using a fake name. She was begging for a temporary personal loan to help fix her destroyed bank credit lines. My legal security team blocks those messages automatically from our network. She made her own calculated choices based on greed, and now she strictly has to live with the harsh financial consequences. I look at my old business group photos on my study wall and feel very proud of my path. I worked 15 hours a day to build this construction company from nothing. I protected my corporate asset legacy from a group of lazy people who just wanted a free ride using a marriage certificate. It will stay fully safe under my personal control forever now. My project management team told me our new commercial bridge is the top infrastructure development in the entire region. It makes me genuinely happy to know that my daily hard work is building a better world while completely securing my personal future. Victoria actually tried to call a local news station to share a completely fabricated story about my construction firm, but the journalists asked for official papers. Since she had zero proof, the media network threatened to sue her for corporate defamation. No one believes a bitter person without official court records. Her desperate lies simply do not work in the real world anymore. I am planning to expand my investment money into clean energy fields next year. Being entirely free from toxic marriage blockages allows me to focus 100% of my mental energy on building massive wealth and true success. Every single morning, I wake up to the beautiful sound of nature outside my bedroom window, instead of hearing loud, aggressive shouting about expensive designer brands. It is truly amazing how much better your life becomes when you remove greedy, manipulative people from your inner circle. My attorney Charles told me that my legal case is now a perfect example for his university students. He teaches them how a smart prenuptial contract can save an independent business owner. It is a huge victory for the good guys who actually do the hard work. I am currently sharing this final update from my modern home study room. The bright sun is setting behind the high mountain lines, and everything around me is completely calm. Taking control of your own legal security is the best move. I genuinely hope my story inspires other independent professionals to always stand up for their rights. Do not let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting what is legally yours. True partners will always support your financial safety. They will never try to actively attack it or exploit it. Chloe's old rich friends completely stopped talking to her after the official court details became public knowledge in our city. Nobody wants to be seen around a toxic person who tries to destroy a good man's business just to fund her luxury lifestyle. She is completely isolated from her social circle now. Victoria's dark basement flat is freezing cold during the winter months, and she has to walk to the local grocery store because she cannot afford a basic vehicle anymore. The contrast between her past high lifestyle and her current reality is absolutely severe, but it is completely fair karma. I sometimes see comments online from other young professionals going through similar intense family pressure. My biggest recommendation to everyone is to document absolutely everything. Keep every single business bill, save every text message, and always build your legal shield before the storm hits you. My commercial firm continues to grow in market value every single quarter. Our new corporate construction assets are fully operational now, and my passive income stream is totally solid. I honestly do not have to worry about financial stability for the rest of my independent life. I am incredibly happy that I stayed perfectly calm during their heavy emotional attacks in the past. If I had reacted with active anger or broken any rules, their defense team could have easily used it against me in front of the judge. Staying professional was my absolute best weapon. Yesterday afternoon, I reviewed my final corporate asset certificates with Charles in his private office. We officially closed the legal case folders for good. The final door of that dark chapter is shut, and my new life path is completely clear, beautiful, and full of great opportunities. I truly appreciate all the amazing support from the digital community during this incredibly tough process. Knowing that other hard workers fully understand your perspective makes a massive difference when you are fighting a lonely, difficult battle against human greed and corporate entitlement. Chloe's call center position keeps her phone headset glued to her ears until late in the evening. She watches other successful lifestyle bloggers online during her short 15-minute lunch break, knowing deep down inside that she had that exact beautiful future right in her own hands. She threw it all away because of her mother's toxic pride and her own endless greed. Victoria spends most of her days complaining to her sister over the phone, but even her own family members are completely tired of her negative financial updates. Her power trip is totally dead now. I look at the beautiful green mountain hills from my wide study window and breathe easily. No morning alarms, no fake documents, and zero mental stress. Just a clean, successful life that I earned honestly with my own technical skills and protected with smart, calculated moves. Remember, true personal strength is never about being loud or making aggressive threats. It is entirely about holding the right facts, documenting reality, and staying perfectly calm under heavy pressure. Let greedy people build their own legal traps and watch the compliance loop finish them. My construction crew recently surprised me with a handmade wooden plaque for my new home study. It has the official date of our company's biggest state contract victory, carved right into the center. Seeing it every single day reminds me of the real value of honest, dedicated hard labor. I am now focused on creating a special business fund to help young independent builders start their own projects without getting trapped by predatory legal systems. Giving back to the community is a massive priority for me now that my own financial safety is completely locked down. Charles and I recently had a celebratory dinner at a quiet restaurant downtown. He told me that in his entire legal career, he had never seen an arrogant family ruin their own financial future so fast. They expected to fight an easy victim, but they accidentally triggered an engineered failure. Chloe's manager at the call center recently gave her a warning for checking her private social media data during work hours. Her past life of luxury and constant online attention has completely vanished, replaced by strict corporate time clocks and mechanical daily tasks to survive. Every paper they sent during our marriage, every text demanding cash, and every fake accusation became the exact bricks I used to build my legal fortress. When the final courtroom judgment dropped down, it completely crushed their entire administrative legacy and entitlement forever. Trust the compliance loop. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this crazy story, please smash that like button, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more daily Reddit drama. See you in the next video.